They may be charging through the Europa League right now, but when it comes to the Premier League, they're fifth, 16 points behind league leaders Chelsea. Before we get to the what if they win Europa, is it a success or not? Right now, pretty clear to say, Jose Mourinho's first season is a failure, right? I mean, 16 points behind Chelsea.
Listen, the fact is they have the potential to get in the Champions League. I think at the start of the season, the goal for Manchester United and Mourinho was to get in the Champions League. Now, whether you agree that getting in there by winning the Europa League is acceptable or not
backdoor
is immaterial, because at the end of the day, he will say he has 2 trophies because he already has the League Cup.
We're assuming Europa League.
And he has the Europa League. So you would have to say it's a success, if indeed they do win the Europa League.
United has more draws than wins at Old Trafford this season. From an aesthetic standpoint, anyway, we can say it hasn't been a glowing success.
No, not at all. It tells you that defensively they haven't been given a lot away, but it also tells you that going forward in attack, they have problems. Some games they have created plenty of opportunities and haven't taken them. But there have been many games where they haven't actually created an awful lot. So their problems are all going forward, which is why, at this present time, they sit 5th in the Premier League.
The Europa League may be the only ticket to the Champions League, but as you say, it's the only ticket that matters.
Yep.
City and Spurs seemingly pretty clear, Stevie Nickel, atop the table. The race for the top 4 in the Premier League is coming down to 4 teams for 2 spots. Your former employer, Liverpool, right now 3rd, followed by Manchester City, Manchester United, and Arsenal. Liverpool right now seem to be the strongest of those next 4. You haven't always been so confident about Liverpool this season. You think they end up top 4 here?
I do. I would suggest it's between 3 teams, to be honest. I don't see how Arsenal has a chance. You know, they are struggling big time right now. As you see, they're 5 points behind 4th place.
Couple games in hand over Liverpool.
But the most important thing is the form they're in. They can have as many games in hand as you like, but when you're as rotten as they've been recently, even though they've had a couple of results, I just don't see it. This for me is between 3 teams. And when I say between 3, I'm talking 2.5.
Right.
Because Manchester United are struggling at the present time to get the results that supposedly Mourinho's displays warrant. They got too many games. They don't look as though they're desperate to put out a full side in the Premier League. And they got tough fixtures. They got Arsenal away, they got Spurs away. I don't see United getting in here either. So for me, it's Liverpool and Manchester City.
Yeah, is it kind of City, and I don't want to downplay what it is to finish top 4 in the Premier League, but is it kind of City almost by default?
It feels that way. I kind of said a couple of weeks ago that Liverpool may get in by default because you can't rely on them against the smaller name sides. So both sides are playing against teams that, and I'm talking about Liverpool and City now, both of these teams are playing against sides they should comfortably beat. And that's why I'm going to go for Liverpool and City.
Question, looking ahead, Liverpool or City more dangerous in next year's Champions League?
I would suggest that probably Manchester City will be, because Manchester City will definitely tool up. Manchester City will have more money available to spend than Liverpool. And Manchester City's model is completely different to Liverpool's. Liverpool is, you know, buy young, buy potential. Manchester City are going to go and buy the real deal right now. That's why I think Manchester City potentially will be more of a threat.
Liverpool 3rd right now, Manchester City 4th. Manchester United and Arsenal will meet this weekend in what is essentially an elimination game.
To be human with the players, we have to be sensible and common sense in relation to our situation in the Premier League. And I think the last match against Swansea, we lost our last chance to fight for top 4. So I'm going to rest players, yeah. At Old Trafford, we shook hands before, after. I remember that I still met him in the corridor for the press conferences. We shook hands again. Doesn't need to make peace. When there is peace, I don't have any problem. I'm a big boy. I'm in football for all my life. I know that problem on the pitch, the next day is not a problem anymore. So for me, no problem at all. And I think you will be very, very pleased with me that I'm going to change my team to play against Arsenal. So I think you'll be really happy with me.
We're talking Fellaini out, Lukaku in. That's what he's sort of going along the lines of there.
Look, Lukaku's been brilliant this season for Everton. I'm sure a lot of clubs will be having a look at him. I wouldn't say no to Lukaku. But look, Marcus Rashford's done unbelievable for a young player to come from under-19s and make that step past the under-23s into the first team. And it's just been brilliant since he's been in the team. So I think you need patience. I'm sure the manager will be looking at a natural finisher. We had Chicharito, we had Danny Welbeck. Unfortunately, we let them go. But Mark is still developing, so be patient. He's done well this season. So for next season, I'm sure the manager will bring in new faces. But at the moment, he's been outstanding.
My worry is if you bring in a Griezmann and a Lukaku and whoever else it's going to be, what happens to Jesse? What happens to Martial? What happens to Marcus? You know, you can only play so many players up front in a certain position.
Especially the way we tend to play one up front, don't we?
Yeah.
With sort of three behind.
Yeah. So, you know, it's a tough one, it is. Nobody likes people getting injured and stuff like that, but the fact that Zlatan did get injured, it's opened the door for Marcus and Martial to stake a claim to play up front. And, you know, we've got 4 or 5 games left, whatever it is, of the season. Just see where we end up and, you know, but my worry is that if you bring in those players, what happens to the young lads?
Yeah. OK. A couple of emails just to bring this section of proceedings to a close. Peter in Middlesex says, yet again, this forward line needs 6 chances to score 1. Cole York, Van Nistelrooy needed 2 chances to score. We're often in command but don't see off teams. Lingard needs to practice shooting and training. He only seems to score wonder goals. Great result, but let's put our chances away. Ian Gray also says, great win, but should have been more. Rashford scored a brilliant goal. All-round good performance from the players. And if De Gea goes, Romero can fill his shoes, no problem. He looks in control and commands the box. Certainly was one of those who performed particularly well for United tonight. We will go to a break. When we come back, we'll have a bit more reaction to United's 1-0 victory out in Spain in the first leg of the semi-final. Match day review is coming here on MUTV next. Certainly the victory for United out in Spain has set up the second leg beautifully, and here to look back over that victory against Celta Vigo, David May and Quinton Fortune. And gents, we would have taken any kind of victory pre-match, but a victory with a clean sheet is pretty special, and of course an away goal that could be vital.
100%, Dave, and absolute wonderful performance. I thought the lads, every single one of them, was on top of the game. There's not a performance out there where you thought, well, he was a little bit below par. I thought everyone was absolutely outstanding, and whether it was bad goalkeeping or poor finishing, we should have been well out of sight. It could have quite easily been 3 or 4, but we'll take the 1-0, clean sheet, as you say, and welcome them to Old Trafford next week.
Yeah, it was the only thing missing in terms of calling it an absolutely perfect performance, wasn't it? Because the moves were there, the chances were there. Had there been a few more goals, it would have been great. But ultimately, 1-0 is a very good way to take them back here.
Especially in Europe. I mean, there was a lot of talk before the game that the players look tired and stuff like that. They look very good tonight, they look fresh. And the good thing is we're creating chances. Yes, it's frustrating that we're not being ruthless enough in terms of finishing. But when you look at the game tonight, I can't see any problem for us bringing him to Old Trafford. We look dominating the game. Paul Pogba was on his game tonight. Marcus, of course, got a goal, but just an all-round performance. So looking very confident. Yeah,
very good team performance, and a few individuals stood out. We'll talk about them as we go along tonight. But let's get the reaction now from our commentary team, shall we? Out in Vigo, Paddy Cronin and Stuart Gardner.
Job done for Manchester United. They'll take a 1-0 lead to Old Trafford for the second leg of this Europa League semi-final. A more than merited victory given to them by Marcus Rashford's majestic 25-yard free kick halfway through the second half. The least they deserved, particularly in the first half, where Sergio Alvarez made 3 excellent saves, Rashford, Mkhitaryan and Lingard. United looked in total command. They looked a real threat on the counter-attack. Romero didn't have a serious save to make. Vass wasted their best chance early in the game. In fairness, Pat, they look a limited side. United should make it to Stockholm.
Oh, they should certainly make it to Stockholm, but you've got to look at the United defence again. They were magnificent in actual fact, and they never even really troubled our goalkeeper. United should have been out of sight at half-time. They aren't, but they've got that one goal lead which should see them through.
The tie is still alive, but United look a class apart, really.
Oh, they are, yeah, far superior, actually.
Excellent day for the United fans here in Spain. Celta Vigo 0, United 1.
Thank you to Stuart and to Paddy. Safe travels to them. And when we consider the victory tonight, obviously important to go out there, put in a good performance defensively. Unfortunately, not more goals. But let's talk about the possibility of team selection for the weekend. We've got Avid in Manchester on the line for us now. Avid, I think you want to talk about the team selection for Arsenal.
Yes, I do. Hi, guys.
Hi.
Yeah, I'm just talking about the Arsenal game, really. I totally agree with David May, what he said. We don't care about the fans, just think about ourselves, really. Put the youngsters in, okay? Give these players a bit of a rest, and let's concentrate for this cup. Do you know what I mean? Let's do it for Zlatan. Let's get to the final, concentrate, and let's hope we'll do it. And also, I want to say to you, Dave, there is a massive fan base in Morocco. I would love to see United going down to Morocco and play a game against any team in Morocco and promote United down there. Really, we have absolutely a massive amount of fans. They love United in Morocco.
Are they all avid fans?
So anyway, hopefully the boys will do it and win this cup. Will be the Champions League final next season, hopefully again.
Yeah.
You take care, guys.
Avid, thank you.
Take care, Paul.
Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed.